I know I'm a day behind. Well, actually, no, I'm right on time, right? Okay, so last week on Instagram, week 5, it was all about taking accountability with some self love, right? So I needed to go on and practice that self love over the weekend. I had a busy weekend. It was little man's birthday, so I needed to plan the party. I needed to execute the cooking for the party. I needed to set the party up. It wasn't a big party, it was only family. However, I like to kind of cook things from scratch. And, so we had a weekend of me just cooking from scratch because I love to cook. And I did some planting yesterday. So by the time it was time for me to sit down and actually record, I was tired. Okay. With that being said, I want to welcome you to the channel. If you are a new subscriber, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, I want to say welcome back. Disclaimer, all right, these messages are not for everyone, so you might want to go ahead and shelf what you don't understand in case you need to circle on back, right? And you may be able to find something here if you need some motivation, inspiration, or maybe even some clarification with some of the things that's going on in the atmosphere, right? This week's energy is all about the destination and the journey, okay? Sometimes we get stuck on the destination that we are not enjoying the journey. All right. Now, the message has always been on this channel that you are your own guru and that you would need to take accountability for your thoughts and for your emotions. Like you have the power to change you. Nobody else can do that, right? So the world is not going to change by me changing you. The world is going to change by myself changing me and yourself changing you, and so on and so forth. Okay. With that being said, let's take a look at energetically what you can look forward to as we're moving throughout this week. Okay. So we do know that the sun is currently positioned in Taurus, and Taurus is ruled by Venus, right? So that energy is full of pleasure, enjoyment. It can also be full of beauty. It can also be filled of romance and maybe even your erotic desires, okay? Especially erotic love, just depending on who you're talking to, or your sexual desires. So some of you can feel that enhancement happening in your relationship as we're transiting through Taurus. Venus also rules relationship and cooperation within those relationships, right? It can be about the aesthetic of things. And Venus's energy also rules art and music, okay? With that being said, when we're moving throughout Taurus this month, these are some of the things that you can expect in the overall collective, right? Taurus is going to ask you to take a look at what you have, right? Back in Aries, as we were starting the new 12-wheel cycle, Aries was requiring you to know who you are, or maybe even what's the goal, right? What's the destination? You may not have necessarily had the plan yet, but you at least needed to know the direction or the destination that you was heading towards, okay? So with Taurus, Taurus is going to ask you within this energy, what do you have, okay? Before we can move any further, we need to take inventory and look at what we have to move forward with the destination or the direction that we want to go in, right? Taurus's energy is going to bring in a lot of calm and measured energy. It's also going to give you an opportunity to slow down, not be so quick to anger, be steady in your approach of something. Taurus's energy is going to offer you the gift of patience if you're open to have that, right? Now, it's also going to bring in a need for you to feel secure. This is going to be security around your material things, right? So your money, your housing, okay? With that being said, right, you can find within looking for the stability within your money and your housing. Some people may tend to opt in over self-indulgence, or maybe being too materialistic, right? Or too possessive, all right? So you do need to pay attention to that, right? Taurus's energy can also have you to tap into energy of endurance and being persistent. So these are things that can work for you or work against you. It just depends on what end of the polarity that you want to go on, right? So are you going to go in the perspective of using a Taurus stubborn energy to be stubborn and very strict, right? Very possessive, overindulge, be too materialistic. Like that is your option. That's one spectrum in which the Taurian energy can rule, right? But the other area is to be calm, methodical, be very measured in your response or your reaction to things, right? Be slow to anger and get all of the information before making a decision around things, as well as using the endurance and the persistence to complete things, right? Now, it's very important that you know who you are. point blank, right? So if you're a person, like for me, I am a person that things need to be structured in a way. Like I'm going to need a time as to when I need to be, where I need to be. I need a schedule. Okay, because I am a very creative person and because I can tend to be by myself a lot, I love quiet time. I like walking around the house with no TV, no radio, just being able to hear the thoughts and pick up on whatever energies of communication are coming in around me. I can find that I can get under my shell or my rock and not really be bothered, right? So therefore, I need to have a schedule or a plan on how I'm going to execute things, or else I'll just be laid back doing my own thing and forget about the world outside, okay? So that's just me in my Scorpion archetype. So utilize this endurance and this persistent energy to work for you as you take a look around what you have to get you to the destination, right? Now, this is important because you do not need to focus so much within the next 12 months on the destination once you have a destination or a goal, right? You may need to set a plan, but you really want to pay attention to the journey, because within the journey is where the lessons are going to come and where you're going to be able to get to know yourself on a deeper level. Now, the moon is currently in Capricorn as I'm recording this video, and the moon is going to be leaving Capricorn on the 30th, April 30th at around 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time where I am, right? So from now until tomorrow, which is the 30th, what you can find in the energy is very structured energy. This is going to be energy where you're around people that want to be able to follow the rules, okay? And they don't want to stray too far from the rules, so be mindful of that, right? They want to pay attention to what's useful, so you don't want to waste information in your conversations that you're moving throughout the rest of the evening into tomorrow afternoon, okay? Now, I do want to say you can take this energy with the moon in Capricorn to be very self-reliant. So if there's something that you can do for yourself without asking for help, you may want to try to do that by at least 3 p.m. tomorrow, right? Try to get whatever you need done, especially when it comes to writing down your plans or writing down your goals, okay? For the first half of the day tomorrow, I think it's important for you to be able to go into your own thoughts, right? See what's going on within you before stepping outside of yourself and asking anyone for advice, okay? So see how you feel first before you step out and ask anyone for advice, right? And the reason why I say that is because tomorrow is going to ask you to be very controlled in your movement and pay attention to the tactics that other people around you are using, right? This can be a very healing opportunity for some of you, because some of you are taking things personally that you don't need to, right? Everyone has an archetype that they are operating under. So you may be able to take someone's personality personally when it really doesn't have anything to do with you per se. This is just how the person is on an energetic line, okay, or as far as their archetype is concerned, okay? So although you may be a Capricorn and you like things to be ordered and structured and everything has its place and everything has to be useful, right? Let's say for an Aquarius, right, that may not necessarily work for them, right? They'll just be able to know things and they may not necessarily be able to explain to you how they know, right? So you're going to have to learn that, and not even to mention that Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. At least one of the co-planets is Uranus, and Uranus is all about rebellion. So be mindful, right? So you can be very structured in your way of thinking as a Capricorn, but then you have an Aquarius that's not as structured, right? And those two signs are ruled by Saturn. So Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Aquarius is co-ruled by Saturn as well as Uranus, okay? And you can see that tug of war going on with your energy and somebody's energy, because they may not necessarily be moving on the same archetypal energy that you are. So pay attention as you're moving throughout the day tomorrow, right? Although the sun is in Taurus and we're paying attention to our possessions, we're paying attention to stability, right? With the moon being in Capricorn, things may not be as structured to another person as they are to you. So we're operating on the magnetic energy of the moon. What's being drawn in is to have structure. You can have someone that's rebelling against that structure because they feel boxed in. They don't feel like they're able to be themselves because they have to be confined to what you say the rules are, right? This could be a really good day for you as you're moving throughout tomorrow until about 3 p.m., right? to pay attention to the messages that you're getting or the lessons that you're getting when communicating with others. Okay, what are the things that trigger you? What are the things that makes you mad? What are the things that make you upset? What are the things that made you jealous, right? Pay attention to how you're operating when anything triggers you, whether it's on anxiety level, whether it's on a euphoric level where you're feeling happy and joyful and blissful, and pay attention to anything that's triggering you back in a past traumatic situation or past childhood situation or anything that's even pulling you back into a past rejection or negative situation, right? This is going to give you an opportunity to dissect that from a place, I want to say, of calmness, very well measuring and taking a look at the internally and seeing what needs to be done. Now, I will say this, as you're moving throughout the Capricorn energy tomorrow, right, you do not need to pull receipts on everything. They know, right? So you don't have to pull receipts on people for tomorrow, right? So that's the 30th till about 3:20 p.m. People know. So if you are having a conversation with someone, especially my lovely Capricorns, okay, you don't have to pull receipts. And even if you're not a Capricorn, just be mindful. You don't have to pull receipts tomorrow. They know. You just need to stay focused on the journey as well as knowing that you're headed towards a particular destination, okay? So be mindful of that. Now, when we swap over into Aquarius's energy from the 30th tomorrow at about 3:20 p.m. until May 2nd, until about 6:52 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, now energy is going to change drastically, right? Where Capricorn's energy in the moon aspect is more about self-sufficiency. You can find that the Aquarian energy wants to include the group. It's what's best for the group, okay? Now, let me pause right here and just go back to some things that you need to be aware of, right? So the sun is going to be your electrical energy. That's your masculine energy, which you're sending out, okay? This is what's being projected out. This is about your logic, reasoning, and deductive reasoning skills, right? When we're dealing with the moon's energy, we're dealing with emotional energy. This is your creative energy, your imagination, as well as your emotional energy, okay? Now, everything is governed by emotions, feelings, because energy is governed by emotions and movement. So which is really just energy in movement, okay? Anything that you need to manifest into this realm is going to be governed by you being able to feel that thing into being. Not just think of that thing, but actually give a feeling to that thought. So be mindful of that. When we hop over into Aquarius's energy tomorrow, up until the 2nd, right? We change from being self-reliant over into the need for exchanging ideas, okay? Into the need of being maybe operating more from an intellectual place. Aquarius's energy does not deal very well with a lot of emotional energy, so you may still need to find a balance when you're dealing with other people, especially around their emotion. From I thought I had my calendar here, but I don't. So from Tuesday up until I want to say, until Thursday, I'm going to use the dates here from the 30th in the afternoon, mid-afternoon, so around 3:20 p.m. until the 2nd, okay, until about 6:52 p.m., the energy in the air is going to be geared around sharing ideas with other people, or be open to share ideas with other people, or what's good for the group. It's going to be unity consciousness energy at an all-time high. This gives you an opportunity for you to be able to transcend past things, or maybe even to gain clarity where there was some confusion, right? We're still in the shadow aspects of retrograde energy, so you want to be mindful of that, right? What you can feel happening within this 2.5 day cycle that the moon is going to be in Aquarius, you can find that people are expressing or maybe projecting a lot of regret, okay? Or maybe a lot of repressive energy, depends on who you're dealing with, right? Your job as you're moving throughout this energy from the 30th until the 2nd is for you to be able to take this information in and gain the clarity that you need. You're not supposed to take anything personally. You want to be able to stick to the truth as the moon is in Aquarius. Once again, Capricorn's energy was you don't need to pull receipts. They know, right? Aquarius's energy for the next 2.5 days is going to be stick to the truth, okay? Now, this is where I'm going to interject to you, right? There's going to be your truth and their truth and the overall truth. And the reason why I say that, your truth is going to be based on your perspective of which you are experiencing things, thinking about things, acting on things, and as well as feeling things, okay? And the same is going to be from whomever else is interacting within this situation with you, right? But if you stick to the truth and you stick to the facts, you'll be able to gain the clarity that you need and navigate. So while we are in Aquarius, while the moon is in Aquarius and sending out all of that energy for you, you need to be able to change your perspective of whatever is unfolding around you as we're transiting through Aquarian energy from the 30th mid-afternoon until late evening on the 2nd, okay? So transcend past things. See the message that you need to get. Gain the clarity that you need to get, because there's going to be some confusion. So use that intellectual Aquarian energy to ask very direct and specific questions from the 30th to the 2nd, okay? And then I want to say, third eye energy is popping up also. And with the third eye energy, you're able to gain a lot more clarity, and you're also able to change your perception on what works and what doesn't work, what's true and what's not true, okay? So there's going to be some transformation happening that is available to you between the 30th late afternoon from about 3 p.m. To the 2nd, okay? So be mindful of that. It's your choice. Look, you can't be happy and sad at the same time. You're going to have to figure out what side of the polarity that you want to be on, okay? As we're closing out the week from the 2nd to the 4th, okay, you need to know that we're going to be hopping on over into Pisces. Pisces is a planet that is ruled by Neptune as well as Jupiter, okay? So Jupiter is going to expand. Neptune is going to ask you to transform, okay? Let me just say that Neptune is also full of illusions. So as you're moving throughout the 2nd to the 4th, what you need to know is pay attention to any soul ties, or you want to pay attention to any bad habits. Pay attention to the karmic drive-bys, right? Which means if you have been planting seeds of disloyalty, distrust, disruption, fake surface energy, be mindful that between the 2nd and the 4th, this could be delivered back to you on a platter that you will need to eat, right? You want to be mindful within this Piscean energy. To give and to receive is the name of the next 2.5 days. This is not going to be a time for you to take. So you need to be aware of the takers between the 2nd and the 4th, okay? And not just people that are taken from the aspect of you energetically, but you also want to be mindful of the people that's taken from you on an energetic level, and not just finances, okay? So Pisces energy can bring in a lot of energy where you're either living in reality or fantasy. And right now, more than ever, everybody on this earth has created their own reality. Some people, share a reality because of your thinking, whether it's a spiritual, religious, or maybe even, I want to say, a financial category in which your perspective or in which you see things, right? Everybody has a reality that may not be like somebody else's. So be mindful of that. There are multiple and many different realities happening at the same time. And some people's reality may be a fantasy to you. So you do need to understand that. This is why you want to be mindful of the takers between the 2nd and the 4th of May, all right? Pay attention to the karmic drive-by. What you've been putting out energetically is going to be returned to you, and you are going to attract anything that you're feeling on an emotional level, okay? Especially around your money and your possessions. So you need to be mindful of that. Between the 2nd and the 4th, you want to be mindful of what you're projecting outwardly from an emotional level, okay, around your possessions, and around your money, okay? And be mindful not to overindulge. So between the 2nd and the 4th, you don't want to go on an emotional shopping spree, right? So you don't want to do that. And I would even go as far as saying that if you are paying attention between the Capricorn and the Aquarian energy, you can see that you may need to make some changes, right? Even if it's your perception or your emotional perception about people, places, and things, all right? Because you do not want to allow the takers to dominate your energy towards the end of the week. You want to pay attention to who's taking too much, whether it's financially, emotionally, or energetically, right? You want to pay attention to who's taken but not given. That's going to be important as you're moving throughout your week, all right? So let's recap, okay? So in Capricorn's moon, and that's going to be tomorrow until about 3:20 p.m. You got to be mindful to pay attention to the controlling nature as well as the tactics that you are using, and that others are using in your experiences. All right, be mindful not to take anything personally, and also be mindful that people may want to move and operate within the rules or within the structured guidelines. So if you see people pushing back because that's not the rule, that is okay. What you want to do is use that as an opportunity to get the message, right? To be introspective and see where and what's going on within you that you can heal from, that you can grow from, and send out more clearer intentions as you're moving throughout the day, all right? So as we're moving throughout Aquarian energy, from the 30th to the 2nd, right? You want to be able to know that unity is really the key. This is all inclusive, what's good for the group, right? You do want to pay attention to anyone that's coming with confusion energy, anyone that's coming with regret and projection. You do need to pay attention to that. Clarity is coming in within this Aquarian moon for the next 2.5 days. So you want to utilize your third eye energy, which is all about perception, right? And perception can bring out clarity and be able to help you to transform, or I like to say, use your self alchemy mentally and emotionally to get past whatever is being thrown at you from the 30th to the 2nd, okay? Now, when we hop on over, now the code word, remember, for Capricorn's energies, you do not need to pull your receipts. They already know, right? The code message for Aquarian energy is stick to the truth. Once you stick to the truth, right, you're going to gain the clarity that you need, and you're going to know how to move, all right? Now, wrapping up the week, we're getting over into Pisces energy, and remember, that is all about paying attention to the soul ties, paying attention to any karmic drive-bys, paying attention to maybe anything that you put out into the atmosphere that's now coming back to be a fruit, okay? This needs to be a couple of days of give and take, so pay attention to the takers, all right? Give and take energy, so you want to be mindful of the takers and knowing that energetically what you're putting out on an emotional level, it is going to come back fully returned to you, okay? So pay attention to what you're not just sending out into the ethers, but also what you're pulling in, okay? All right, my love. So I'm going to see you guys by next Sunday into our next Astrology in Archetype. And remember, it's not so much about the destination now. Now it's about the journey. Now it's about getting the messages that you need. You don't have to pull everybody's receipts this week, right? Stick to the truth, and you'll be able to navigate and gain clarity and be aware of the givers and the takers, okay? And balance that out, okay? This is a ending of the week where it's going to be give and receive. So you should not really be given to anyone around you, especially in your personal circle, when all they do is take, and they don't pour anything back in. All right? Okay, I love you much. And if you would not follow me on Instagram, my love, you need to do so, right? On Instagram, we are going into week 6 of our mental and emotional alchemy, all right? So we're up to week 6 over on Instagram. So I suggest that you go on over to Instagram and follow me. It is still for your inner voice. And if you have missed weeks 1 through 5, you can find that on Instagram. We are going the 52-week cycle of how we can use our mental and emotional alchemy to transition, or to transcend, or to get to know yourself better for the next 52 weeks, right? Listen, you are not just here to know about your zodiac sign, the month that you was born, right? You are here to master all aspects of the zodiac wheel, because all aspects of the wheel will tell you something about yourself, okay? With that being said, I love and appreciate you. I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful week, and be mindful to do something kind for yourself, right? Because you deserve it. But you also want to do something kind for somebody else. Not because they deserve it, but just because you can. Bye, my love.